do news.
Well, yeah.
The Pope came out with some comments about the
diets or
Pennsylvania.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
And it didn't really sit well.
Really?
Yeah.
There's people calling for him to resign.
There's people. He's saying he's calling for some sort of silence.
And it's like from the church and all of its representatives, presumably.
Would be.
Wow.
Let me see if I can find it.
If you are ranking them in terms only of like first, second, third, I think he's still probably up there for me, but only because all the other ones are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, what am I thinking of? The one before Ratzinger, was that Paul II?
I think I've got it.
Yeah. Seemed like he, I mean, unless I find out that he was also directly involved, although it would be hard for him not to be, in some amount of covering up massive international child rape.
Yeah, this is from USA Today.
Oh,
yeah.
What do they say?
The title of the article is Pope, answer those who only seek scandal with silence and prayer. So people who only seek scandal and division must be answered with silence and prayer, Pope Francis said on Monday as the Catholic Church continued to grapple with controversy surrounding allegations of sexual abuse. Francis, in a homily during Mass at Vatican City, did not specifically address the growing scandal, but he said even families can have division over topics such as politics, sports, and money. Curious that somebody would acknowledge that, hey, there can be disagreement when there's disagreement directed to them, as if there's no truth here.
Yeah.
Quote,
families can have disagreements over child rape. Yeah.
Quote, with people lacking goodwill, with people who only seek scandal, who seek only division, who seek only destruction, even within the family, respond with silence and prayer.
Oh, boy.
Francis and the Church have been hammered in recent weeks by a series of sexual abuse-related issues. In July, Washington Cardinal Theodore McCarrick resigned amid claims of abuse. Then 3 weeks ago, the Pennsylvania Attorney General released a grand jury report alleging that church leaders protected more than 300 predator priests in 6 Roman Catholic dioceses across Pennsylvania. And oh, by the way, I think I saw news today that like the number 3 guy in the Catholic Church has just been accused of stuff as well.
Oh, directly?
Wow.
But this is... So for clarity, and I was never Catholic, but what the Pope's doing is saying he doesn't want to address what's actually going on, and probably for very good reasons.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine the Pope's lawyers have encouraged him to not address this.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is when people come to you and they seem to only be focused on scandal, don't engage with them, just pray for them.
Right.
However, what we're talking about here is not someone who is only seeking scandal. The results of this investigation, I should say, the results of these investigations were not necessarily about people looking for a scandal.
No,
it was about people reporting a crime and the justice system seeking to determine what the facts were around the crime. And the facts are that the Catholic Church is a corrupt criminal organization that has been protecting rapists forever, as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, the United States has a list of state sponsors of terror. Does they have a list of state sponsors of international child rape?
I don't know.
I mean, the answer is no. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah.
But I say it's a rhetorical question after answering it. But
well, the Vatican as a city-state should be declared a hostile nation.
Yeah.
I shoulda, coulda, woulda.
We have extradition treaties with various countries. There are places where you can go where they don't have extradition back to the United States, so criminals go there and hide out. And apparently, one of those is Vatican City.
Yeah. I was going to say, can you list those countries for me, unrelated, for a friend? No.
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend, place that doesn't...
Just think of the worst places with the worst reputations for drug lords and no good legal protections for civil rights. Those are probably the ones that don't have extradition treaties with the U.S. I mean, I wouldn't run away to the UK if you're trying to escape prosecution.
No, that...
And by the way, you know, evidently, like Vatican City's protection only applies to priests. I mean, I think if you just like robbed a bank and tried to go there, the Pope would turn your ass in, even though he won't turn his buddies in.
Well, I think even without an extradition treaty, 2 nations can agree on things based on their domestic law.
Yeah.
Yep.
By the way, if there are Catholics listening, I don't necessarily think that you are evil in the intentional sense of you are intentionally supporting evil. But we are long past the time where any of you can pretend that when you go in to Mass and you put money in the donation plate, that money is necessarily going to good causes, because we know that money is going to lawyers, it's going to those who are protecting these, it is going to the further corruption of your religion. And you can sit there all day long and say, oh, this isn't my church isn't like this, except that every time we investigate one of these things, we find out that, yes, it is in fact your church. And even if it's not, maybe your church should separate from the Holy Roman, emperor.
Yeah.
Call yourself something else if your church is so innocent.
But you are now at a point where if you are not publicly stating your objections to what the head organization has done and calling for removing yourselves from any connection there, you are now complicit. You are absolutely complicit, and you're doing it because you grew up Catholic and you see we feed the homeless and we run shelters and we've done all this good stuff, except that we don't nearly do enough of that. And for those of you who, by the way, who want to try to raise Mother Teresa, she was an absolute awful troll, and I recommend reading Christopher Hitchens' book, Missionary Position, to find out that basically she was fetishizing suffering. Yeah,
the quotes in there are pretty damning, actually. Like, literally saying, no, I don't want to reduce the suffering of the poor.
Of course not. It's necessary.
Yeah, it brings them closer to Christ because Christ suffered.
Yes.
That's not...
Right.
Yeah, he suffered for,
anti-human at all.
A day.
Yeah, he gave up,
and then he
sacrificed his weekend for you.
Barely.
Sir.
Not even a weekend.
I mean, he took a weekend trip to hell if you're Catholic. Yeah. Or to America if you're Mormon. Yes. Actually, no, that's a selling point for the LDS
Maybe America
church.
Is hell.
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna say better vacation spots. Even Jesus agrees, but no, we can talk in the abstract about at what point a person who is part of an organization is directly complicit. But at this point, you can participate in literally everything that you just said. You can go and you can take the food and hand it to a homeless person, and you can pray the rosary, and you can attend church, and you can put $0 in the offering plate.